Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Goeiemiddag, Sambonani, Dumelang. Welcome almal hier vanmiddag. This is our third live webinar that we are doing, Ultima live webinars. And just a couple of house rules from my side is firstly, the software that we use is of such nature that you don't have to mute your microphone. You can just listen in and enjoy. There's no noise that's going to come through. If you want to ask questions, there's a live Q&A on your screen. On the right top side, you'll see there's two speech bubbles with a question mark in it. If you click on that, even on your phone, it's accessible. Then you can ask a question. Please do so through the presentation. We're going to answer the questions and put the questions to Pieter at the end of the presentation. So I'm going to hand over now to Regina, who's going to introduce Pieter.
Yes, good afternoon. Very welcome to everybody. It's my privilege to welcome each and every one of you, and also to welcome Rizan and Pieter from Shadowmatch. I've come to know Pieter a little bit over the last year as we have been using Shadowmatch, but I've also attended the value content series that he was having, where he had small groups, and he just challenged us to month by month, but by what he taught us. So when and he was actually telling us about Industry 4.0 and getting ready for that. And some of that was really scary, but he also has solutions and ways to help us to actually be ready and to be more and more ready and to help other people also along. So he was the author and functional developer of Shadowmatch. He's the head of research and development at Shadowmatch. Then you won't say, but he was at the University of Pretoria, and he became a minister of religion in the Dutch Reformed Church, where he also specialized in youth ministry and counseling. Furthermore, he doesn't stop there. He's a philosopher, he's a lecturer, and he's a futurist. And Pieter has also helped us. He's also developed a system called Next Move, and he acts as a business consultant, which he has been doing for many years. And something interesting, when they developed Next Move, he said, I think 18 years ago, they actually asked one question: what would you do if all your staff were sick due to a pandemic? And that was 18 years ago. So Pieter really knows what he's talking about. He's also a motivational speaker, and he has authorized several books and articles. So Pieter, very welcome. We're privileged to have you, and thank you for accepting our invitation. You can go ahead.
Thanks, Regina, and thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the team who made this possible and who went through the rigmarole of putting this exercise together, and Rizan from our team, the Shadowmatch team, who also plays, especially on my work, a pivotal role to coordinate some of the things that I am involved with. So this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking about Industry 4. Obviously, the fourth industrial revolution. It doesn't take a lot to understand that it is number 4 of 4 industrial revolutions. The first one, the second, the third, and now we are in the 4th. They expect the 5th industrial revolution to start sort of showing its impact on our world in 2030. It could be earlier, but 2030 seems to be the date that the 5th industrial revolution will become very prominent in our world. But let's for now focus ourselves on the 4th industrial revolution and what it is about. So I'm going to take you through a few pictures and slides so that you just get yourself and your mind around it. The first question is, what exactly is the fourth industrial revolution? It is a revolution that's been created by the fact that clever machines, let's call it clever machines, intelligent computer mechanical systems can do the work, advanced work, that is normally being done by people. This is what that in its most simplified language, the fourth industrial revolution is the impact that machines will have on the world of business, the world of production, the world of services, in terms of doing work previously being done by people. So the obvious question is, give us a few examples. Now, I'm currently writing a micro book on the fourth industrial revolution and the impact that it has on business and individuals and careers. For instance, we will focus today a bit on careers and the world of work. But when I was a youngster, companies had a room full of typists, and being a typist was a career. So you would go to a college, you would study secretarial work, and you become a typist. And where I did some work with a previous mentor of mine, Dr. Deskumbi, they had in the one building 100 typists. They are gone. There are no typists anymore. And data capturers, they are gone. No data capturers anymore. Well, here and there, maybe you'll find a company with a few data capturers, but it's not a career and a job anymore. And as machines and intelligent system and artificial intelligence start to grow and develop, I spoke to a doctor the other day, and he does some work in terms of cancer research. And he said to me that if you take an X-ray picture of the lungs of an individual and you give the X-rays to 100 specialized medical professionals to determine whether the person has cancer or not, the accuracy index will be around about 82% accurate. If you give it to a computer to interpret, the accuracy is 99.9%. So what will happen is the doctors won't do this anymore. Computers will do it. And I can now keep on with the examples. The big impact, obviously, that we expect to be first is the lives of truck drivers. Trucks will drive them. Well, they can already do it. The guys are battling with legislation. Self-driving cars, it's already there. They are fully capable of driving a person from anywhere to anywhere, and the legislation is the issue, and we can now carry on with these things. And now the challenge is, what jobs will be automated? What jobs can be replaced by artificial, electronic, computer, mechanical system? They call this control systems or mechanical control systems. The manufacturing has already been moved into automated manufacturing. Cars and computers and cell phones and all these electronic devices that we use are all manufactured in automated plants. If it wasn't for the automation of those plants, a cell phone, for instance, would probably cost us an estimate of 100,000 Rand if it had to be human made. Currently, it's down to around about 6 to 10, 12,000 Rand because it's been manufactured by machines. But all those manufacturing jobs are gone. So the question is, what can be automated? It's the wrong question. The question is, what cannot be automated? And it's shocking. We can now, I have a son who's an industrial engineer, and he was a lecturer, part-time lecturer at one of these private universities. And they said to him, Jaco, you must come so that we can record all your lectures, and then we don't need you anymore. That's it, job gone. So it's a recording, teaching. teaching will be automated, lecturing will be automated. You will watch a video, it's already automated. The biggest training platforms in the world, Udemy, for instance, is a fully automated system. You watch videos, you answer questions, and that's it. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. That's the way they think. So the fourth industrial revolution, to answer the question in one sentence, is it is a revolution that will impact the world as a result of automation, where intelligent, and this is the catchword, intelligent machines that can self-direct and make decisions. And I'm going to give you an example of how machines will make decisions, and then change the way they operate without humans telling them. Let's say, for instance, legislation allows us for self-driving cars. All the self-driving cars will talk to each other. There will be no traffic lights. No traffic lights. So when a self-driving car approaches a crossing, it'll connect to all the other cars in the vicinity. And the cars will then decide who will get right of way. And the individuals inside the cars will have no influence on this. But say, for instance, there's an incident on a highway in South Africa. There's a roadblock. The cars will tell each other there's a roadblock on your way to the airport. It's at this place, reroute. And the car will then decide from the information the car receives from other cars to take an alternative route. So this is how the intelligence systems will talk to each other, educate each other, and make alternative arrangements to decide. In agriculture, with rain patterns and with cold fronts and with closing hangars and all these things can be automated. So the question is, when is a business Industry 4 ready? There's a cutoff point. If the processes of a business, if 80% of all the process in a business can run without human interference, it's been seen as an Industry 4 ready or an Industry 4 enabled business. 80%, 80, not 18, 80. So if 80% of a business can carry on without any people, that business is being seen as an Industry 4 enabled or an Industry 4 ready business. So where are we with this? Obviously, there are manufacturing plants that are 99% and 98% automated. The cell phone manufacturer in China that manufactures the Huawei phones are 99.9% fully automated. It's a fully automated capability from the basic material right through to the packed and the ready to deliver phone is an automated process. And this will obviously impact a lot of other industries. We've seen now with schools when Regina and the rest of the coaching group were in a meeting one day about a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago. I said to the group, teaching is one of the easiest things that we will automate. It's a no-brainer. And some of the guys around the table said, really? Now hold your breath. This virus and this crisis that we are currently in will accelerate the automation of teaching at a rate and a pace that we will battle to keep up with. So high level schools will suddenly, and I know about a school in Bedfordview where they have enabled full remote capabilities for the school, and suddenly the head of the school says, but you know, I'm not limited to 1,000 learners anymore. I can take 10,000 or 100,000 learners, and somebody in Skukuza that wants to want their children to join a high-profile private school with the best lecturing content in the world can join my school, and the kid can go to school from Skukuza and his parents' house. So suddenly everything is being accelerated into the automation world. And what we currently do, this is what we now experience, is an Industry 4 capability. if Regina and her team wanted to facilitate a session like this, we had to get a building, we had to get tea and coffee and seating and a projector and the sound system and blah, 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 blah. Suddenly, we can click a few buttons and we are all live. And when we switch it off, it's gone. And nobody, there's no attached schlep or admin. These capabilities will drive the business of the future. So if we ask the next question, what is the impact on work and career planning? It's huge. It's huge. The impact on the way in which we plan careers and the future of work is huge. My dear wife has got a sister, and the sister has got a daughter that's now in grade 11. And she said to this girl, my wife's name is Lizette, she said, so what do you want to become one day in terms of your career? She said, no, I want to become an auditor. And I sat very critically and I listened and I said nothing for the relationship's sake. And I walked out and I said to myself, I still didn't say anything to my wife. I said to myself, I wonder if this girl understands what SAP and Oracle is doing. The full auditing system will be automated, fully automated. And obviously people say it's impossible. It's not. It's actually very easy. The moment you understand how automation works, it is very, very easy to do. I spoke to somebody the other day. He's the CEO of quite a well-known brand in South Africa. I can give you a hint. The brand is 100 years old, blah, 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 blah. They've got 500,000 members, da, 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 da. But they run a call center of 170 people answering phone calls in terms of customer service. I said to him, you need to close that call center down. It's an industry 3 thing. A call center is an industry 3 capability in a business. He said, no, we can't. Our customers must get help. I said, close the call center down. You cannot afford it any longer. The opposition companies won't have call centers. A call center is a symptom of a problem. It's not a solution. He was cross with me. And he said, what will happen to all the people? I said, what will happen to all the people if the company has to close down? So you'd rather do it. And call centers are in the process. It's an old mindset. That's it. Whether we like it or not, it's an outdated mindset. Let me give you an example. Facebook is the one single company with the largest number of clients globally. It's the biggest client base. It's got more clients than most governments have people in their countries. They don't have a call center. You can't phone them. You can't phone calls Facebook and say, I'm struggling to get my advertisement running because I don't know where to find my Facebook pixel. You can't phone them. How do they do it? They simplify the process so that people do not become frustrated, and then they publish information. You can ask for help online and they play a video, and you can ask again and watch the video again. And then in Afrikaans, we say, jy sukkel tot jy regkom. That's it. That's it. If Facebook had to set up a call center, they will have to employ 3 million people. They can't do it. So they automate the process. This is where, and the impact of this on the world of career planning and the world of work is serious. And my concern is people don't want to hear it. So the question that we have to ask is, what will happen and what drives Industry 4? Industry 4 is driven by only 2 sources of high business energy. The one is reach and cost. Reach is the business world they want to reach as many people as they can with their products. This is the mindset. Instead of selling one cell phone with a profit of 1,000 Rand to one individual, let me rather sell 10,000 cell phones with a profit of 2 Rand each. That's the mindset. But if I want to do that, I need to be able to manufacture 10,000 cell phones. And I need to manufacture the 10,000 cell phones at such a cost with such low risk that I can afford to put it out in the market at the profit of R2. Now suddenly a few things come to the surface, because it's driven by reach. The first thing, it's driven by reach. In other words, I want my product to reach as many people as possible. But then the second thing is, the next thing that drives the Industry 4 mindset is, I must be able to manufacture high volumes at a low cost. There's no other way than by means of production automation. Can't do it in any other way. So these are the two business energy points that drives Industry 4. And it's a very aggressive drive worldwide. And if you look at, and some governments, and this is something bad, but some governments say the private sector must create jobs, create jobs, create jobs. All over the world, the private sector must create jobs. But the governments automate their own functions at one of the highest rates in the world. The governments want to now automate the voting system so that we vote from our cell phones, because the cost of running a voting exercise every 5 years is just too high. So the government say to the private initiatives in the world and the private business, you must create jobs. But in the meantime, the governments are automating their functions. Currently, the drive in Gauteng is to put all households on prepaid meters. Why? Because they want to get rid of 30,000 meter readers. So that's how it works. This is the reality of Industry 4. We automate the systems, and we put the capabilities in the hand of the customer. The consumer must become part of enabling the services that we provide. The other day, just a 1-minute story, I went to Villiers and I wanted to buy, it's a few years ago, and I wanted to buy a gas braai. And I had a look around and I saw one standing in the corner, and I said, I like this one, it's quite nice, it looks like a good quality, it's a mega something, blah, blah, blah. And I said to the guy, I want to buy one of these barbecue braaiers. He said, yes, it costs this, I paid, gave me a slip. He said, okay, go back to the warehouse part of it and buy it. And they gave me a box that was by far too small for that thing to fit in. And I said to them, so what now? I didn't buy this. I bought that one. They said, no, this is it. I said, and? They said, no, you assemble it yourself. That's the point. The point is they manufactured that article, that piece of equipment, up to the point where labor and people was necessary for the assembly. They don't do it. The automation process stopped at a certain point where it's packed. What happens now is the client must assemble it. If the client doesn't want to assemble it, he doesn't have to buy it. And that's the thinking. If you want to buy it, you assemble it. If you don't want to assemble it, don't buy it. Because they can suddenly manufacture that at 1/3 of the cost. Because 2/3 of the manufacturing cost in Industry 3 was related to people. Suddenly they can manufacture this thing, and they now, instead of selling to one client the equipment for 10,000 Rand, they sell it to 100 clients for 3,000 Rand, because their cost of manufacturing is 1,000 or 500 or 300. So what we must understand is it's been driven by reach and cost, and obviously both these hang around the numbers issue. So the next question, ladies and gentlemen, obviously what the implications for business, if you want to ask the question afterwards, if you don't automate, you're out. That's it. It's easy. You will, if you want to play in the mainstream economy of the world, you've got to automate your capabilities in your business. If you do not automate, the people across the street will automate their business, and they will come into the market at a price that you cannot compete. When Villiers was still in existence before they collapsed, I did consulting work for Mr. Pieter, who was the CEO at that point. And then they decided to buy a local mattress manufacturer, because they purchased about 80% of the production of that production plant on the south of Johannesburg. So they were actually the only client who purchased 80% of what was produced by this specific mattress factory. And then when they purchased it, about 6 months after the purchase, and they paid millions for it, he said to me, Pieter, the guys are bringing in mattresses from China now at a price 30% less than what it costs us to manufacture. So the price to the consumer is 30% less than what it costs to manufacture locally. And I said to him, do you know what the difference is? This manufacturer at the south of Johannesburg employs 2,000 people. In China, they make these mattresses without one person or with probably 10 engineers. I spoke to somebody in the mining industry and he said to me, they're opening a new diamond mine. And instead of having, for the same capacity of diamond mining, between 4,000 and 5,000 people employed, the new mine will employ 60. The mine is fully automated. It's a fully mechanical, intelligent mechanical system. But let's talk about careers, ladies and gentlemen. What will happen to the work of work? There are 3 points of view. The one is, it's a disaster. That's the negative point. The negative point of view, which is shared by many people around the world, philosophers, business analysts, futurists, and I can give you the names of some of these future analysts. They reckon that it's a disaster. It's unemployment can become the single biggest problem in the world. Elon Musk, for instance, is of opinion that employment will be destroyed by automation, and governments, the world must work out a plan to give everybody a minimum income that is livable. So everybody must get an income from a central funding organization or bank that makes it possible for the individual to at least make a reasonable, livable and decent living. Because what Elon said is there are about 100 big industries that will be automated to the level where they don't need people. And the money that they generate must be put back into the system through a taxation system so that people can get a minimum income that'll at least give them the ability to live their lives in a sort of a meaningful way. So that is what we refer to as a predominantly negative perspective on the world of work. The second perspective is one where people say that humans are very intelligent and we will find a way around this. This is not the first time that mechanical things have had a threat on human labor. When caterpillars and tractors and trucks and trains were built, all animal powered transport were replaced by machine powered transport, and that was around the first industrial revolution. And they reckon that people are smart. We will work around this. We will find a way. And as this revolution progresses, people are smart enough they will find alternatives. That is what we call a middle of the road, positive progressive perspective. Well, technically, if you want to read about it, it's a positive, it's a progressive positive perspective on the world of work, post-industry 4.0. And that is this idea that people are smart enough, they will find a way around. Then there's the positive perspective, but the positive perspective, ladies and gentlemen, has got an extreme downside or an untold negative side or an untold dark side. Let's call it that. The positive approach is more jobs will be created than what will be deleted or destroyed, but the jobs will be different. I sort of like this idea, and I can see it happening. There are currently new jobs being created at an extremely high rate of development. I'll give you a few examples, and I'm going to share with you some of my concerns. Social media marketing is a place where people suddenly find a career. They run businesses. Social media marketing it's a business. So you do the social media marketing for a company. and there are specialists and there are training courses. Have a look at Shaw Academy and Udemy and search the web, and you will find 10,000 academic training courses and short courses that teach people the skill and the knowledge of social media marketing. My concern is that the universities in their marketing faculties have not yet started to cater for the learning, for teaching students social media marketing. I just sat this morning to look at the content of some of the universities and their marketing content. They have not yet started to teach it. So what now? So there's a new career, but everything has fallen behind in terms of teaching and lecturing, and now these private initiatives fill the gap. And that's a new job. I'm a social media marketing specialist and a trainer, and I run training courses and I run social media marketing campaigns for my customers. And people make millions out of this. It's a new career, it's a new opportunity, it's a new business, but there's a catch. There's a downside to it. If you have an outdated marketing degree with an honors and a master on highway posters and the impact of highway posters on teenagers between the age of 9 and 11 or whatever it is, you're out. You're out. The job shifted. We don't need those people anymore. We need new people. We need new skills, new knowledge. So there's a huge creation of skills and careers on the one side. And in that same area, a lot of these skills are becoming redundant. The world of industry, they don't need it anymore. So this shift into a reskilling and more dynamic capabilities of learning and reskilling oneself is absolutely critical. But there are more. One of the careers that is currently in high demand is the career as a drone pilot. Drones fly all over the world, ladies and gentlemen, and they do highly specialized work in agriculture, in filming and flying down into mine when there is poisonous gases and doing security patrols. And it's an endless list. But there's a shortage of drone pilots that they expect that the shortage of drone pilots will become so serious that it will become one of the jobs that could earn as much as a qualified engineer. But the problem is we don't have training capabilities for these people. So what happens is millions of new jobs are being created. But because we lag behind in our training and development of young people and career advice and the gap is that there will be jobs and there will be people, but the jobs won't be suitable for the people. So there will be a high level of availability of people. There will be a high availability of jobs, but there's a disconnect. The people are not trained for the jobs, and the jobs need skills that the people are not ready for. So the issue is not the impact that it will have on jobs in terms of jobs that are being destroyed. The problem is a training and development issue. That's the issue. I am convinced that more jobs will be created than what will be destroyed, but the jobs will be different. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back to one of the things that I'm currently getting my mind around and getting my hands into for the last 5 years, and what it's all about career advice. And we've just launched a month or two ago our Shadow Match career report, and it's the first career report that takes Industry 4 realities into consideration. I spoke to many professional career advisory people and career counselors, and I said to them, what is your advice in terms of Industry 4? They said, what Industry 4? So it's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Now the question is, how should we approach this new reality? Ladies and gentlemen, the word is agility. We must be agile. The first thing that we must have is we must be on top of our careers and the future of work to know that this job that I'm currently doing can be automated. What then? And I must keep myself on top of the developments so that with the day it happens, I am ready for it. That's the first thing. So we need to be very, very sharp, and we need to get ourselves on the front line of what is happening with the development of automation and the replacement of people with systems. When Bill Gates said 20 years ago, any office will one day be replaced by Intel inside, the world was mad at him, but he was correct. They're doing it. So we must be on top of these new developments. But there's a second thing, ladies and gentlemen. I recommend everybody to have a plan B. Plan A is my main income and my primary source of income and work. Plan B is something that I hold on the sideline in idle, on a low key. I'm a photographer. I have a fancy camera that I have saved up and bought. I've done a few training courses. I have a specialist skill in some kind of photography, and I take pictures and I keep it alive so that when my main income might collapse on me, I have a plan B. The plan B might not be of such nature that it could sustain my current lifestyle, but it could keep me alive until I've built it up to the point where it can sustain my current lifestyle. I listened to a radio talk show this morning about the travel agencies, and they're all bankrupt, ladies and gentlemen. All of them, well, not all of them, but I think about 90% of them are down now. And they are in big trouble because it just suddenly came to a halt. And what the lady said on the radio, she said, we must also remember that when travel is reopened, bookings will then have moved completely to the web. So it's an internet-based, it's an industry for capability that will sit with a customer and they will book their seats. And I said to myself, and you never had a plan B, never. You never saw this coming. You never saw what the internet was doing to booking of tickets, and whilst this was in our face, you never thought of a plan B or a possibility of a plan B. How can this happen? So the approach that we must apply, ladies and gentlemen, is I think every individual must have a plan B, and that plan B must be kept alive to such a level that if necessary, I can switch and not immediately make up the losses, but over a period of 3 to 6 months, I can at least get myself into a position of a livable income. So this is the new approach that we must take. But there's more than this, ladies and gentlemen. If somebody wants to go to university and study something, and we know that this something is going to die in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years, we must have the guts to tell it and to say it. You must remember, ladies and gentlemen, at university, some of these faculties must keep themselves alive. When I was lecturing a few years ago, one of the faculties that really struggled was Latin, because Latin was moved out of the law degree. It wasn't necessary for law students to have Latin anymore. But the faculty had to fight for their own survival because they will become unemployed. And if you've got a PhD in Latin, there's not a lot of jobs for you in South Africa. So what happened is I then said to them, guys, but this faculty's got to close down. You don't have. They said, no. At the open days, we will sell it to the students like we sell a product. That's unfair. I cannot sell a degree to a student knowing that this degree hasn't got a future. What's the ethics of this? I have a serious problem with that. So the approach that we need to take is we must be honest, and we must help people develop a plan B, be agile, and stay on top of the development of Industry 4. On the the left bottom of the picture, ladies and gentlemen, is a vacuum cleaner. That vacuum cleaner cleans a house back to back, 24 hours a day without anybody noticing it. There goes hundreds of jobs. Lizette and I, we want to buy one. We actually bought one and we haven't received it as yet. So where do we start? Ladies and gentlemen, obviously, as business leaders, where business leaders need to start is to do a serious investigation about the possibilities of automation. And this is not to get rid of people. This is to survive the business. This is to keep the business in a sustainable position. Obviously, some businesses must do a full analysis, ladies and gentlemen. This is very important. Businesses must do a full industry full readiness analysis, and they mustn't be suddenly run out of customers because the neighbors and the opposition and the guys across the street automated them out of the business. So we must do a full analysis of a business and see what their level of automation is, and then determine what is the way forward. Is it worthwhile investing the money to automate the capabilities and the functions of the business? And what will the the sustainable lifetime be for the business if it's not automated? So there's a lot of these things that must happen. On a personal level, I must ask myself, in any job, what is the chance that this job that I'm doing can be replaced by an artificial intelligent electromechanical or intelligent system, or just a computer system? And we must be honest with ourselves. I have a bit of a concern that people think some of the things cannot be automated. We must rethink that, and it's easy to rethink it. Just Google the words automation of teachers, automation of lecturers, automation of truck drivers, automation of pilots, automation of medical doctors, automation of, and you'll see what is happening, and it's scary. So I must be on top of what is the future in terms of automation of the capabilities and the business that I'm in and the job that I'm doing. So that's where we start. The next step, as a business, as an individual, we must have a plan B. We must have a plan B in terms of our personal sustainable future. The plan B doesn't need to be 100,000 Rand a month, but it must be capable to keep my personal financial ship floating until I have built it up over a period of 3 to 6 months to be a sustainable income. It is absolutely critical. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a few last comments. The psychology of a career. It's embedded in our language. We don't ask a child at a young age, who do you want to work for one day? We don't ask a child, at which business are you going to work one day? We ask the child, what do you want to become one day? It sits in the language. It's embedded in the language. Our careers are part of our identity. Now, if you want to make a note, ladies and gentlemen, this is quite an important note. There are 4 things that we need to keep together to be in a good frame of personal wellness, to be happy, to be sane, to be stable, to be prosperous, and to have a fulfilling life. 1 is, out of the 4, is that my relationships must work. People in relationships that don't work are in trouble. My relationships must work. 2, the place where I live, my house, the place where I spend my living, my private lifestyle in terms of my house, my dwelling, my apartment, must be something that is accommodating to me. It's friendly, it's safe, it's where I want to be, and it suits who I am. The 3rd thing is my physical body, my medical condition must be good. The 4th thing is my career must work. The moment people lose their jobs, we see what the psychology of a career and a job is. Their identity goes down, their ego position goes down, their self-confidence goes down, their finances go down, their relationships go down, their households go down. It's got huge implications. So the psychology of a career, it's one of the 4 most critical anchor points of personal wellness. It must work. So, and the fact that it works has got lots of benefit. What is the best approach to take? Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we've discussed this, but the best approach to take is to be very self-critical and to ask a few questions. What will happen once I retire, and when will I retire? because the current life expectancy of a person that is under the age of, let me put it as it really is. If you're under the age of 65 and you are relatively healthy and you haven't smoked and abused and you can become 100 without effort. It's if you don't have, if something serious doesn't happen, you can reach 100. If you're under the age of 50, you can reach 110. If you're under the age of 30, you can reach 125. And people currently under the age of 10 can reach 150 years of age because of Industry 4 and the advancements that we make in medicine and treatment and. So now we retire at 60. And I've been working for 35 years. And I can live another 35 years. What is the financial model? Who has got at the age of 65 from a salary of 35 years enough savings to live for another 35 years? Not a lot of people, because the cost of living is on the increase as we grow older. So we must make other plans. We must invest in a different way. We must retire and then start with a new career, so that I can at least for another 10 or 15 years earn an income to sustain my lifestyle, so that my savings could be spared from that. But another thing, ladies and gentlemen, people come in the middle of their productive career at the age of 40, 42, 43, and they are frustrated, or they lose their jobs, or the careers don't have a future anymore, and we must then be able to consult and redirect them. So what we must do, ladies and gentlemen, is we must try and sign up for coaching and for career coaching, and to sign up for work sessions and replan and rethink and stay on top of what we do and where we are going with our careers, because things can suddenly change, like we've seen in the last 3 months. So the best approach is to be agile, to be on top of what you do, have a plan B, and to start with a self-consulting process and ask yourself, where am I going in the world of Industry 4? So, ladies and gentlemen, what I have agreed with Regina is you can write down these 4 dates. On these 4 dates, I will facilitate a full career path design workshop. It's spread out of over 4 evenings: 27 July, 7 p.m, 28 July, a 30-minute session on a career report summary. This is the Shadow Match career report. 29 July, 30 minutes. 30 July, an hour. These sessions are free. You can join these webinars. They are free. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, there's a catch. You must have your Shadow Match career report. If you don't have it, you can't. Well, you can join, but it'll be like watching TV in a different language. It'll be of zero value. You can contact Ruzan if you want to join. Ruzan at shadowmatch.co.za. She's part of this webinar this afternoon. Thank you very much, Ruzan. We'll handle your inquiries. You must do the Shadow Match worksheet, and then you must get your Shadow Match career report. It's you buy it off your portal, ladies and gentlemen. And the webinars are for free. And if you want more information on what we will be doing during these 4 sessions, it's a 4th Industrial Revolution Career Advisory series of webinars. You can go to www.careermatchforme.com. Regina is also a good contact person. She's very close to us, to myself and Ruzan, as a Shadow Match business friend, but also on a personal friendship level. So Regina can also help you with this. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thanks for your attendance. I hope you have learned something, and you are more than welcome to who's going to handle the questions. Over to that person.
Thank you, Pieter. Thank you so much. There's a couple of questions. First one, Pieter, if you can help us. The question is, what should parents do if their children wants to consider a career which won't be there in 10, 15 years' time?
They must be honest. The parents must. There's no such thing. I'm running a parent a parent advisory webinar this evening at 7. Contact Ruzan if you haven't got, if you don't know, you can join. It's for free. But the parents must tell their children, my girl, my son, this career is under serious threat, whether you like it or not. It's not a sustainable career, and get somebody outside to show them either the research or the information, because children do not believe their parents, and parents are in a very, very, very sort of on their back foot in giving teenagers, especially teenagers. When my children, I've got 3 children, when they were teenagers, they knew everything. They knew everything. You couldn't teach them anything. And I'm so glad, because, you know, I didn't have to teach them, but I found out they don't know everything. But we must be honest, and we must tell them, and we must share with them some of the videos that are available on the internet to just make them aware of the fact that this career is going to cost us as parents R1 million in terms of your varsity training, and it's not going to sustain you for the rest of your life. And then we must leave it to them, because then we've done what we can. Good.
Next, Pieter. What jobs will survive?
Engineers, hairdressers. Believe it or not, hairdressers are they are 3rd last on the list of risk of being automated. There are 4 spaces in the world of future work. You will either become a system designer, in other words, you will build these automated systems. Then you need high qualifications, you need maths, you need engineering, you need science degrees, you need fancy degree in the scientific, in the world of artificial intelligence, computer programming, systems development, control systems development. So these are all the engineering. In medicine as well, you can also, but then you need sort of a medical engineering degree. So there will be system designers. The second phase is there will be technical enablers. These are the people that will make the technology work. In other words, I will go to the farmer and I will set up the drone for the farmer and teach the farmer how to fly the drone and how to do crop spraying with the drone and commission the technology. So I will be a technology enabler. There's a huge career for that. And then there will be functional enablers, and this is now your question. They will survive. Lawyers, people that are on the innovative side of work, people working in places where computers just cannot do it. Some technical training, for instance, and repairing of stuff, repair technology that's being struck by lightning or there's a problem. So all the repair functions, all those functions where the human mind needs to really understand the unique situation, that will survive. And then, despite the fact that we don't want to hear that, there's a huge future for artists, people in the artistic world of work, people with artistic capabilities and skills. There's a massive future for artists in the world of Industry 4. And there are complicated reasons for this. But artists, and then all these, the work that depends on innovative work that must outthink a specific unique situation will survive. But the list is shortening every day.
Thanks, Pieter. One last question. It's a good one. Do you recommend that people invest money in their plan B at the moment?
Yeah, but you must be careful. Invest in an intelligent way. Get a plan B up that has to do with something that people will try and do something that people will always need. You know, something like clothing, food, the basics of life, repair, handwork, that kind of thing, because it seems as if there's a big future for these sort of niche articles and niche things that people do. But I wouldn't invest mega into plan B. I have a very good friend who attended one of my talks about 6 months ago, before the virus could be 7-8 months ago, and he bought a 3D printer. And the printer, I think he spent 35,000 Rand on it. He bought a second-hand one, and he started printing. And he spoke to me about 10 days ago, and he said to me, Pieter, if I didn't have this printer, we would have been in big trouble, because suddenly now I've done a little bit of marketing, and suddenly I'm not sure that I want my job back whenever it comes back. But he was clever. He spent a relatively affordable amount into something that is futuristic and Industry 4 enabled, and suddenly he's got a business. So we can invest, but I shouldn't go the high investment route. I would rather invest small and build it up over a period of time.
Thank you, Pieter. One last, just to sneak that in, someone asked, what about domestic workers?
Out, gone, out.
Okay.
Out. There's no two ways about it. The future of work, if you go to the United States, to England, to Europe, to my daughter just immigrated to Australia. She's got a high profile job, a very fancy high profile job at Cisco. She earns a high salary, and she said to me, Dad, there are no domestic workers here. And I said to her, Corinne, my darling, in 10 years from now, there won't be any domestic workers anywhere, because we're going to automate the function. It's out. It's domestic workers are in big trouble, as many people are.
Fabulous. Can we just share that email address? That's rozan@shadowmatch.co.za,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, Rozan at shadowmatch.co.za, and Rozan will be able to help you with a webinar that I present this evening for parents, as well as the 4 dates at the end of July if you want to attend the career planning sessions.
Thank you so much, Pieter. We really appreciate it. I see Rozan has posted the details of tonight's webinar, as well as her details on the Q&A as well. Thank you for taking that and the presentation today. We really appreciate it. Your input has been very valuable, and looking forward to also follow your progress with the career work that you are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Cheers. Bye-bye.